Welcome to 3 on the Ones and Twos with your hosts, Tom, Cassie, and James. Just 3 old friends talking about their favorite records. Think of it as the coolest book club for music nerds.
You know what's awesome about having your own show is this. People come up to me all the time. Actually, that's a lie, not all the time. Once in a while, in the streets, at shows, at bars, and they go, you know what you should do on your show? And I stop them right there. I go, you know what you should do? Start your own show.
Goddamn right.
Because you get to do what you want. I'm sharing the table with some people. We're talking about close to 30 years. Beautiful friendships, much love and respect and admiration.
It's been a long time coming.
And I'll take it all. I'll take it all. And we're going into like uncharted waters. So I want to give a shout out to our dear friend and partner Cassie, who's dancing with gypsies and running with the bulls in Spain right now.
She's in Barcelona.
I believe she's hanging out with Peter.
She's running with Primavera.
Yeah, she's running with Primavera. But no, the whole idea of the show is we always wanted it to be a fly on the wall with old mates who have shared nothing but the same things. We love the same things, we hate the same things, we're passionate about the same things. And also sometimes we don't agree on the same things, and that's what's awesome, you know. So I'm going to pass the mic to James. I want to thank our guests, Greg and Jesse, and I'm going to let James say a few things, and then we're going to talk about this record. And we want to give a big shout out to Brian and Mikey at Trackside Tavern.
Don't forget Trackside Tavern.
PBR, Trackside Tavern in Decatur, Georgia, right across the tracks from Kimball House.
Hey.
Yes.
And best oysters, you know, and also thank you to PBR and Jameson, and thank you rock and roll and punk rock. It saved my life. This is my friend James Joyce.
Yeah, thank you both of you for joining. This is Jesse Smith and Greg King. This is a doubleheader episode.
Uncharted waters.
We had this idea that we wanted to do like a double feature where one of you picks a record, the other one picks a record. We have a part 1 and they're going to have a part 2.
Yeah. And also because they're close mates and bandmates and brothers, so they're each other's special guests. So our special guest has a special guest. It's like oatmeal. It's like oatmeal and everything. You know.
But Jesse's first.
Oh, we're going me first.
Yes.
We're going to do you first.
All right.
So what's this record that you talked about, brother?
So I wanted to bring something that I felt like maybe not everyone gave the time of day to, which is Wall of Voodoo. Their first album, Dark Continent, which came out in 1981 on IRS Records. A lot of people think of them as a one-hit wonder new wave band with a quirky song called Mexican Radio, but they are much more than that, and they have pretty deep roots in punk rock. They're members of the Skulls, Black Randy and the Metro Squad. The list kind of goes on in that Danger House sort of realm.
And they were playing with bands like the Weirdos and Oingo Boingo, and just like, I mean, they share the stage with some of the greatest LA bands ever from that time.
Definitely, and so a lot more history than just one song.
Yeah.
I guess probably my first introduction to them, besides the song Mexican Radio, was from the film that James Joyce made me watch that was also referenced in a J Church song.
Yeah, we watched it once.
Called Erga Music War.
That's right.
I'm
selling that on VHS.
Yeah, it's a very important film. And
go buy that VHS tape now.
Yeah.
You hear to Bradford?
Because he gave me a heart attack single. So
That's worth it. I think that's worth it. Yeah. You won.
Yeah, that was also when I saw them first. Or same introduction as the Erga Music War, other than Mexican Radio.
Yeah, so one of the tracks from this record is on Erga Music War. Yeah. So that was my second run-in with Wall of Voodoo. And then I just happened to be at a record store. It was Wuxtree over in Decatur.
Yep.
And Richard was working, and he was playing this, and I was like, obviously I could tell who it was. They have a very distinct sound between twangy
And
guitars.
the vocals are so
Vocals.
obvious.
Yeah, he sounds like a radio show host in the 1940s or whatever.
It's so LA sounding, but it's more than that too. Like, yeah, but it's so distinct.
Yeah. So he was playing it in the store, and I was like, obviously this is Wall of Voodoo.
Yeah.
And then and I'm going through the entire store, and I'm just like, I think he got like 6 or 7 songs in. I was like, all right, take it off.
I'm buying it.
It's coming home with me. And so
Consider that sold.
and so it's. I would say it's maybe in my top 10 list, but the top 10 list kind of
Changes over the years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it's a record that I think is awesome, start to finish, and I wanted to just bring it because I thought it was kind of probably deserves more attention.
And
than it
it's
gets.
obscure. Thank you guys for being our guests. And I'm so excited for the next episode. And I'm so excited for tomorrow to talk about what we did today. It's just good, But I love when people bring on, we talked about this backstage in the green room, I love the whole idea of the show for us to turn people onto stuff. Like because punk is such a broad genre, whatever. But shit, no, thank you for turning me on. So I knew of it, And I said to James, I was like, wow, because I totally thought a few records you would have picked, and they're all wonderful. You got great taste, But I was like, I love this, and I listened to that record 6 times, and including this morning, the whole record, and I'm in yoga pants, like dancing to it. Yeah,
it's a good yoga pants dance record.
It's a wonderful yoga pants record.
It's a great. I love that they use the rhythm ace so much in it.
Yeah.
Or
It's
whatever
like double time.
That's going, but then with other stuff thrown in.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it. Yeah, you could talk about it's like
the double.
dancey.
Yeah.
I did.
There's especially the song. I forget the name of it. It's the second to. They're not in order.
So
I know, isn't that their?
You
because
sons of bitches.
They do that 'cause my daughter she loved the song.
Well, your daughter's got good taste.
Back in Flesh.
Yeah, that's a great one.
And she was
that's
like,
the Ergo Music
what
Award one.
song is this? And I'm like, I don't know because it's all out of order. Damn it. And I'm like,
Good Times.
yes.
Good Times almost has a proto electro, you're kind of you could see people rhyming over it.
Right.
You could see people maybe influencing
Well, it's got that craft. The drum machine's like craft work.
And the other thing is when I said LA, and by the way, James and I talked about this in one of our meetings a week ago. This episode and the next with Greg, we were like, because there are so many awesome LA bands, We appreciate that you kind of said, no, these LA bands are here where they should be here. Thank you for,
off the beaten path LA band.
The delivery is so weird, but also it's so funny. Like this morning in my yoga pants, I kind of heard the B-52s, early B-52s for a minute, and I was like, wow, but I didn't hear it the last 5 times I listened to it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to hear Tom Tom.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Or whatever. I think the rhythm ace is always, Sly and Family Stone used the rhythm ace all the time too.
Yeah.
But with
I think
totally different
Hendrix did demos with the rhythm ace.
Oh, no kidding.
And Wall of Voodoo, when they use it, it's it makes you agitated. And it has this weird it's kind
anxious kind of feeling.
Yeah, it makes you anxious.
Well,
What's supposed to happen?
Yeah, it's one of the best qualities of the record is there's it's has sonic elements that are ear candy, but even in a song that's pretty catchy. I think my favorite song on the record is Call Box.
I love that song.
It's super catchy, but there's the lyrics have a lot of tension to it, and then the more the rhythm gets more and more frantic, and the guitar work gets a little bit crazier, and then they just have this amazing tension that they're able to like bring into songs within the record that you're like, wow, if I was in a bad space, this would send me into a panic attack.
Like you may have some like seizures. It's like seeing the lights and stuff.
Yeah. Because of the rhythm box and because it doesn't let up, it's sort of like Suicide, where it just
love that.
it doesn't let up. It's sort of like if it was a normal drummer.
A normal drummer would have like.
So I guess that's kind of the point. One of the reasons I wanted to bring it up is because it's like there's all these elements that you think of them as being like a quirky one-hit wonder new wave band, but there's elements of Suicide, there's elements
Without a doubt.
of Ennio Morricone, there's elements
Yes.
of
All the different
The Residents, which is why I wore my snake fingers.
I love it.
Yay.
It's so funny when you put things in context. Like, for instance, two Irish bands, for example. The song "Comin' Eileen," great song, and I remember being 12 years old, like dancing to it, whatever, in New York City, whatever. And then you hear like, that whole album.
rest.
Yes, and what a brilliant soul band,
Right.
And then another, all the Dexy stuff's amazing. And then another example of another Irish band is, I'm growing up in New York City and I hear the song "Boys Back in Town," and to me it's like, man, it's like Bon Jovi, just nothing for me, And then I hang out with friends who turn me on like T-Rex and then listen, and I hear like Live and Dangerous or like Fox and the Hound, and all of a sudden Arm Hairs, and he's like, "And the boy's about to fight, you better let him." And I hear the song completely different,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like and it does so much for you.
Recontextualize.
I mean, I like the Bon Jovi version, so you're telling me the wrong guy.
Well, I was 12 and wasn't the artist that I am now.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But you know what I mean? It's like I love. Well, one of the best things about, we talk about this all the time, is music and the power of music and the magic of music and the camaraderie and friendship of music, and how with time things can grow and just be spiritual and take on this next thing. By the way, I know.
I was a little worried when we knew that you guys were coming in. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like, man, what are they gonna pick? Like, because
Oh, yeah.
also, I mean, Cassie's not here. Cassie.
Shout out Cassie. She's hanging out with New Water in England.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a jet setter.
Yeah, she was in Spain this morning running with the Bulls.
But she always like will buy the record. Like she keeps it as like a memento. It's like
And
Jesse's gonna like.
It's gonna be a hard
pick
record to
something
get.
really obscure.
That's
Right.
$200,
I was gonna make her buy a Napalm Death record.
Yeah, I was like, Greg's gonna pick the hardest Celtic Frost record ever that
I
you
was
cannot
when
find.
he picked that, I thought about doing Celtic Frost into Pandemonium
Oh, that would have been
because they
good.
cover Mexican radio. It's
But,
like,
but also the cool thing is, it's like you guys are such brothers, and this brotherhood's amazing. It's like you kind of like did this awesome marriage of like complimenting each other.
yeah, that was
totally.
well,
Stay tuned for
I
episode
picked
2.
that we'll talk about that record,
Yeah.
but I picked it in response to that record, sort of.
It's like a side A and a side B.
Somebody had to go first. I think that was the
Yeah,
whole.
yeah.
We could. There was no
because I don't
parameters.
have like
Yeah.
a favorite album per se.
So
I have like 1,000 favorite
you
albums.
mentioned your favorite song on the record,
Uh-huh.
but like, what is? It's such a weird thing to say. Like, what's your least favorite song? Because we also come from a time now that like people are like, oh, put out one good song on a record, but we love whole albums like as a Scorsese film or whatever.
So, like, a speed bump in a record can be an important thing.
Yeah, go to the bathroom, get a drink.
Yeah, like it's not like so. I don't dislike any songs on this record, but Me and My Dad is probably the speed bump on the record.
The closest thing to it, maybe.
Which I think, but because the way okay, so this is something that I didn't realize until I was kind of like, I picked the record and I kind of was like looking over the lyrics a little bit, and I feel like that maybe there's a whole story being told. It's like because each song is like a little vignette, right? Like there's a lot. They're definitely.
Is it a
Like
concept
you,
record?
it could be because there's a lot of things that involve work and involve.
And you always hear, hey, should we give a shout out to Jameson for sponsoring us? Thank you guys.
Yeah,
man.
thanks, Jameson.
And here's to going on 30 years of knowing each other. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
So you think
I do a little
do you
sip.
think it's like a hidden?
I think there might be. It's like True Detective where it's all tied together.
Yeah.
It's like the movie. It's like the show Lost.
Yeah. No, it's not like that. There's actually a
At
meaning.
the end, it's
Exactly.
like, what is
So,
the song?
so the thing is you always. I'm sorry.
I was just saying very quickly to finish my point about the record you picked, because you picked Dark Continent. What's nice is that it's a very like everyday album. Like you can find that at What Street. You can find that.
Yeah, we were worried
For less than $10.
we were
Yeah.
worried we were going to spend
It's like a
$200.
Well, I appreciate it. In several episodes, we've had a few episodes on this show where it's like $100 record. We've had a few
Tom Waits Rain
episodes-
Dogs, a $200 record.
Yeah.
Jeez, when did that happen?
Which one is?
It's
Rain
Tom
Dogs.
Waits Rain Dogs.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like
And Dancing
But there's
2.
like got to be like
Oh, yeah.
reissued versions.
Yeah,
of it.
Jay Vaughn did that.
I just like making people spend money.
But then we've also done like the Faces, and those
Yeah.
records are like $5
Yeah, yeah.
records, and
And
they're
they're so
amazing. And this
wonderful,
is a
yeah.
great value, is what I'm saying. It's like
It is.
you can get a lot out of it.
So here's my thing. Here's my thing. Or like, you can't. Anytime you like look up or Google, this band, you always hear like literally within 2 sentences you're gonna hear the words like spaghetti western, whatever. And they I think they really were trying to like paint like themes. They started off doing like soundtrack stuff.
Yeah, so Stan Ridgway had an office.
Exactly. That's
Where he was writing.
Yeah,
He was writing soundtrack music. I don't
Makes
know if
total
he ever
sense.
got any soundtracks that like if he landed any jobs, but he had an office space.
I think he
that was
did.
renting.
He did Jaws 5. No, I'm kidding.
But and I guess it was right across
That
the
was
street from the
yeah,
mask
you
or
know,
something like that.
Sergio
Jaws
Leone
5, the
one,
spaghetti
right?
western.
Yeah, so I mean that's when the guitar player of the Skulls would kind of like wander across the street, and then that's how they kind of like
Mark Moreland, right?
that's how they met, and that's how it like started. They were like, well, let's do a band. It turned it from like soundtrack work to a band. So they're always like film minded, and that's why the spaghetti western
Yeah,
thing.
comes
He was
up.
probably like, I want to be the new wave.
Well, no,
Marconi,
and it's
then
wild
it turned
because
into
you
a band
hear a
instead.
version, like we mentioned Suicide, another band that just never gets enough props, but you hear elements of like Devo and Kraftwerk and Ventures even, and I love that,
The twangy
and
guitar.
it's like, but it's like seconds. It's like cucumbers and salt and pepper, like parts of it. You know what I mean? And I love that.
But they have a very catchy quality to them. I don't know. It's not
That's
like
the Residents element.
melodies or anything.
Nobody does it.
It's a weird hooks. And
You wonder how they put that together, like how they. But then it makes
all
sense
Stan
to
Ridgway,
come from a
right?
soundtrack perspective. That almost is
Because
like
you're writing in
really
a different headspace. If you're for a soundtrack, you're not really trying to write a
You're thinking
normally
of
structured
yeah.
song.
And then you come up with a band like this. It's just like talking about Jeffrey Greitzer or something.
Yeah, Jeffrey, he's so good at that.
Where it
Yes.
makes stuff. Yeah, it's good. But when you listen to it, you're like, how does a band like get together and practice and be like, okay, I got a rhythm bass, I got some cowbells, I got a weird bottle,
yeah.
and a china, and
Well,
I got some guitars.
Well,
That China is a very important
it's
instrument
a
on
very
the record.
That's an important
So
as
it's never been. I'm sure it's never been combined with a rhythm bass and a china.
that's
Especially-
up there with Brendan's cowbell. I'd
Yeah.
say.
And
You know,
so-
it's like
Yeah,
exactly.
very much.
It really is. Yeah.
But the so that speed bump on the record, me and my
Boy,
dad,
dude, New York City.
almost like gives a little bit of space for the ultimate like rise on the record, which I think is Tsetse Fly, because it's such a maniacal song, and that 1-2 punch of Tsetse Fly and Call Box is like where the highest point in the record.
Yeah, but
right there.
It's a slow build to Tsetse Fly, and then it comes in.
So every one of us, probably when we, as different as we may approach like our own process, comes from this place where like I dream things and I write poems and I bang stuff on the piano. I fool around a guitar and it becomes a song. Jesse's amazing at that. Greg, these guys I think let the drum machine go for 20 minutes. So they hang out. They come back and they go meh, like, and they start. That's when the brain. It's basically left of coming just from a different
And I
way.
imagine it was really,
And I
really
love that.
important to them having a studio to work in. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
the
Like,
studio is another musician and another musician and another instrument. Yeah, the room is yes.
Did the rhythm bass? Do you think that came from Black Randy? Do you think like that was?
I don't. Yeah, maybe.
There was a real drummer though in Black Rain, wasn't
From Trouble at the Cup? Is this,
Was
you
Trouble
think
at
this
the Cup
is
had
Trouble
another-
at the Cup
okay.
drum
Yeah,
machine?
I mean,
wow.
it might have been his. It might have been his. The drum, the percussion.
So
I
wait,
forget his name.
so-
but a funny story about that too is that I was in Wuxtry again, and Richard was there again, and he was like, "Jesse,
Rich never leaves."
check this out."
Yeah.
He had obtained this dude's drum set. He has his drum set. It has Wall of Voodoo
How
stickers
did
on
that
it,
happen?
and it had like
my
all
God.
this extra like he passed away, and I think his ex had a bunch of his stuff and had gifted it to Richard. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, so Richard, if I got you in trouble, I'm sorry.
We'll do this. We'll deal with that
confirm this before it
in
airs.
post editing.
We can
It's going to be a lot of scratches.
Yeah. But it was super cool to see. Like I saw with my own eyes the cowbell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
So
it's such a when you think of like great things or great players, and to me it's like this ninja aspect. You're like, it's so awesome. Well, you know what's awesome is when you notice it's not there. Like, and that is like this vital part.
That's incredible.
I want to
See that kind of stuff drives me.
Was she in Atlanta? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people end up here for some reason.
Yeah, a lot of weird punkers end up in Atlanta.
Yeah, man. Tom from the Brains, who wrote
I used to deliver pizza.
Money Changed Everything, was Elmira. It was Elmira. Shout out Elmira.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s,
And Cyndi Lauper.
used to order from Athens.
I graduated high school.
Tom Brady.
Talk to you about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, off camera.
Yeah.
So, what else?
Should we just to mention Urga Music War? Because that was the introduction to it. And you know what's funny is that it came out on DVD finally. You can get it on like Amazon or something. When I lost the DVD, and now I need to like rebuy it or something.
They might not have it.
I know,
It might not be
It's on
out.
YouTube, right?
All you gotta do is Google what
It's on
band you want to
YouTube. It's on
see,
YouTube.
and that way you don't have to watch the whole thing, and no one has to watch the Scarfish part.
Hey, wait a minute. That was like my favorite.
What are your least favorite parts?
It's
Wait, but that's the
Scarfish.
album I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, Citizen Fish is up next.
My least favorite parts of Urga Music War, to quote the J Church song.
There's a J Church song about Urga Music.
There's a J Church song that
I was
the
gonna
lyric
say,
is
that's very weird.
fast forward the VCR to the better parts of Urga Music War. That's the lyric.
No shit.
And he says
Gary
it
Newman
really
did
fast.
Down in the Park.
Shout
on that
out
one,
Gary
right?
Newman.
Yeah.
Two
That
Winter
was
Arbor.
brilliant.
Cramp song was on.
It
Klaus
was
Nomi was, that's my introduction to Klaus Nomi,
I
yeah.
love Klaus.
yeah. The Gang of Four footage on there is
Gang of Four, yeah.
phenomenal.
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
So Oingo Boingo.
I saw it at
Boingo is on
Cinema.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of what else
Mystic
was
Nights.
on.
Mystic
Klaus
Night.
fucking know me.
yeah, we just said that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But like, talking about orange.
Surf Punks.
Yeah,
Surf
Surf
Punks.
Punks,
We had the
yeah.
skateboard guitar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the surf punk.
Apparently, I think you told me this, is that there's a bunch of other bands that didn't make the cut. Like Wire was filmed for it.
Yeah,
and
Wire
they
was
didn't
too good and too artsy.
Footage,
You know.
yeah, they filmed a ton of stuff, and only some of it got out.
But the best part of Urga Music War is when they pan to the crowd, which they never actually pan to because it's never the same. You can tell it's like a Leonard Skinner concert because it's a bunch of people with mullets and mustaches, like doing that, and it's like clearly they're not at the Scarfish. It's always so awkward. They're just,
Super into it.
yeah.
But I remember that. I remember, and I got it on DVD finally. I mean, Urga Music War. I had a bootleg of it from Fantasyland.
I want to.
And that's probably what we watched. But I saw it originally at Cinefest. And it was
With Georgia
to see
State.
it on the big screen or whatever, how big the Cinefest screen is.
So I don't think we watched it together. If we watched it together, it was
I
a
thought we
different
had it watched it
time.
like a boys' night or something. We like put it on.
That sounds like it probably happened, but the first time you told me to watch it,
Oh, okay.
and I rented it from movies we're seeing, and you had said,
Yeah.
You
You
were-
can rent it
By
from,
the way,
the
video
Turtles down
video
the street from my
stores need
house.
to
That's
make
how I
a
saw it.
video
Yeah.
stores need to make a comeback.
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
amazing.
Video
There was a
Drum Hold It
Turtles right outside my neighborhood, Turtles Records, and they had that, and they had Decline of the Western Civilization.
Oh, yeah.
And
Those
part
are-
two, and what else? They had some.
They did it.
They had some Target video stuff too. It was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
but he made sure he was like, pay close attention for when Klaus Nomi shows up. Because I had no idea who Klaus Nomi was, and he wouldn't give me any other information other
And
than
that's all you
like
needed.
Klaus Nomi.
The best, man.
And well, that changed my life.
Yeah,
So-
as it should, man.
And
Cheers
the
to
week-
Klaus Nomi.
Just a tangent. We're talking about all LA right now.
Yeah,
We're going
and-
down
we're
the
doing
rabbit hole.
really good.
Yeah, and I think so. I saw Blondie in LA a few weeks ago at the Cool World.
Yeah.
And on the back they played like Dreaming or something. And on the back was Klaus Nomi
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
on the
yeah.
screen.
Oh wow.
And James Chance.
Nice.
It was this whole like New York '70s.
No wave, everything.
Like,
Yeah,
sort of no wave and
DNA, all that.
scene,
Yeah.
all black and white footage from there.
That's cool.
It was like, man,
It's so funny because we were talking about this.
literally, like, was about to cry.
Yeah, it's also it's cool to watch the older bands that you like. You know them as pop stars. Be like, yeah, we knew what was going on.
Clem Burke's like
time.
one of the best drummers just like ever, man.
Yes.
Unreal. Like that's hard, but
He was in the Ramones briefly, I think.
Yeah. He was Elvis Ramon.
Yeah.
I hung out with Blondie and John Doe one night, and John Doe just couldn't stop telling me how awesome my hair was. Just had to say that.
Hey.
In New York City, he was like, you got
That's it.
beautiful,
It
you
takes
got
one to
beautiful
know
hair.
one.
I was like, you got beautiful hair.
That's right. The two of you should have.
Yeah. Debbie Harry, I love you. She wasn't that nice. But also, man, she's Debbie Harry. She doesn't have to be nice.
have to be nice.
Yeah.
Nah.
I need to be nice to everyone. I'm still right here, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Wall of Voodoo has been. I mean, they have roots within the LA punk scene, but they sat. Did they really? Do you think they sat outside of? Like, do you think they were accepted by the? Because I don't know.
You know, by the time they were existing, there was like sort of past that point.
Actually, that was gonna be my question. So, was it 81?
This came out in 81.
And then 2 years later, they had the big radio hit or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But like the thing is they were sharing stages with like Mystic Knights. They weren't even before I'm going on Mystic Knights where they had like mimes and stuff, and it was a lot of performance art, and then going into punk.
Well,
you know.
what I think is interesting about the people who were like in the first wave of punk, and I say first wave of punk being like
In LA, though,
76 to 79.
Sure.
If you were involved in that,
You played in the mass.
you pretty quickly moved on.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they
that wasn't a long period of time.
It was.
It was-
mo-
It was 2 years,
Either
but
hardcore
it was 2 years. It felt
you
like
know.
2 weeks. Or
well,
whatever,
it,
you
just
know.
like whether or not it was like Johnny Rotten doing Pill,
Yeah,
or
sure.
like,
Yeah.
or these guys. You know, it's like punk
Gang of Four,
was a
Wire,
stepping
yeah.
stone. They were, and most of these people were like punk musicians, not because they heard punk to become a musician.
Right.
They were musicians.
They were-
Found punk interesting and
they were
glommed
there.
onto it for a moment.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
They were there, and that's
And
why,
progressed past it, yeah.
and that's why post-punk is so important. Like the stuff that even came out afterwards. You know?
Certainly, I feel like a lot of people that were like, if you started making punk in 1981,
You
you're
messed-
probably still making punk.
You messed up.
exploited.
Like,
Yeah. I'm not throwing shade at any of things. I love the
You
exploited.
kind of didn't get it. It's like D Boone. It's like D Boone saying punk
Think about the
is when you
Dills.
make it. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Think about like all the. You know, this is a perfect example. Like you're exactly right about.
The
There's an
Dills
era,
were like, what did they turn? What was the band called?
Rank and File.
Yeah.
and then everything else, and then the Chip just came out with like an electronic album.
Yeah. I was reading about that.
Yeah.
I like
you
some
think about
electronic.
those early LA guys making Wall of Voodoo, coming from the Skulls, coming from Black Randy, coming from Danger House.
Because a lot of these guys before punk, they were just into like the Residents or like
Definitely into the
whatever,
Residents,
yeah.
and that's something that like as catchy as this is you can always hear the undertones of the maniacal elements of the
You
Residents.
definitely can hear that.
And when you think about bands like The Residents and Mark Mothersbaugh and Devo, whenever that shit came out, then they met like Bowie and Eno. 4 years earlier, they were doing plays and doing like dioramas and acting on stage, and it was performance, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was this natural,
artists
organic
first.
trick. Yeah. So and that's the shit. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of it, but I can't do that. I just love it, you know. But I also love that that's there, you know.
Yeah. Love it. Should we talk about a letter?
Man, I cannot believe how good we are doing on timing. Like, we're so good at this.
Yeah, I know.
Man, Duncan Jones is this kid from Queens. David Bowie's son's name, Duncan Jones.
Okay.
Duncan Jones is this kid from Queens. He hit me up. And sometimes we let our fans know. We cheat and we let them know a little insight what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
So this guy's a fan of Jesse's. Cheers.
Hey, that's
So that's
great.
pretty cool. And he goes, love this record that you're talking about. If each of you could say for a few seconds, what would be, in your opinion, would be the quintessential LA punk band
Or just
album?
punk
mean,
band, new wave
I know
band,
for me, I'm
art
automatically
band.
going to say X,
What
but there's
represents-
so many. I
what
love the
represents
weirdos,
LA
you know.
To you.
And now I'm saying Wall of Voodoo. You know, Later on, I may say.
Man, I'm not,
Later
good,
on,
I'm
I
not good at like narrowing things down.
Later on, I may say flesh eaters. You know, I mean, like.
Circle jerks. I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
Were they LA?
Yeah, they
they're
totally.
okay.
Hermosa Beach, although I was never a Circle Jerks fan. You know,
Yeah, do you
My
say
favorite
Hollywood?
LA
Do you
punk
say-
band
I would say X.
is The Doors.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got. Hey, you want to know something?
But we'll get
by
to
the
that
way,
later.
And you're the star of this record. By the way, I would say
Then
this.
I'm gonna say Love.
Ooh, good one.
Greg, what are you
Who
going to
the
say?
Doors wish
Circle
they
Jerks.
did it.
Okay, so actually,
okay,
so the
okay.
star of this episode is Jesse Smith.
Yes.
And let me just say this. So at 19 years old, I did a shitload of acid with a smoking hot girl named Lane, and we listened to the Doors. I was a new waver, not even a punk yet, and I listened to them because I was into the girl I was dating. Then I was like, man,
As you do.
I was like, what am I doing? And I put the Doors away. But now I'm an old man. Next week I'm going to see Steely Dan. I mean, like, seriously, you get older and the things you despise, you start to like. The Doors are punk, and they inspired the Stranglers and so many
Oh, yeah.
fucking awesome
Oh,
bands, you know. And so I love your response.
Thank you.
And again, shout out to fucking Brian Colantuno and Trackside Tavern.
There was a story with Pop about Jim Morrison, and said Iggy Pop said that he is only because he's such
Yeah, without
Yeah.
doubt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian,
So-
thank you so much,
He's
man.
like,
Love you, brother.
Jim Morrison on steroids.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go next, or does Greg have you thought of something?
He said so.
I mean,
I said
keep
X.
thinking,
I just said X right now because the song, the album Los Angeles. I mean, there's nothing more to me Los Angeles than that.
See, I said Love, sort
I
of
love
like
I love the Doors.
in joking.
Uh-huh.
or whatever.
What's your
I
real
was-
answer?
Well, you know,
Randy Newman.
so the other
That's amazing. Yes. I'm cool with
Harry
that.
Nilsson.
I love it. Yes,
Yeah.
man. Nielsen Smielsen. Yeah.
Okay, this is a kind of a cop out of an answer, but once again, back when I was in LA at that festival, and Damned were playing.
A few weeks ago when you were hanging out with a bunch of punk rock legends.
Yeah, exactly. And the Damned
as
played,
usual.
and they played Alone Again or
Oh yeah, yeah.
over that.
Yeah.
And you're outside in like the hills of
Yeah.
LA, in like Pasadena, and you're hearing like Alone Again.
Yeah,
I saw them do
it
that
goes
shit.
to the past.
Playing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're just sort of like it fits the landscape.
I saw them do that show a
So-
few years ago in LA, and all I
Yeah.
said was I was disappointed in the crowd for not getting crazy to New Rose. So,
Yeah, yeah. But I think hearing the Love cover, like in LA, and in the hills and all of that, there is kind of like a mysticism
it is. It's
Yeah.
mystical.
that I yeah. It's 5 generations too early for me, but yeah, it's kind of interesting when I think about old LA.
You have a great recognizes great, and you're an old soul, and you have
Sure.
great taste, and you know.
You're
I
a
think the Doors
sweetheart.
is probably, honestly, the Doors is probably the right answer. And then like maybe X. Like X is
Ah,
sort
maybe,
of...
you know
That's
what's
another
you know,
extension of the
I
Doors.
Yeah.
would say this.
Because
I would
Ray
say-
Manzarek
I would
was
say,
all over,
I would
you
say
know,
this.
yeah,
It's,
like,
it's
what,
San
3 or 4?
Pedro, but the Minutemen are kind of everything that I try to be as an artist. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what I want to say.
They're
You
fucking
guys are
dogs.
about to do a
That's all.
Carbona show out west.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Cheers to you guys. Love you guys so much. Go to Jesse's restaurant across the street.
Yep.
Cover House. Brian
to Jesse's
Colantuno.
music.
Listen,
to
yeah,
Greg's
listen to
music.
Jesse's music.
If you feel like it.
I cover I don't want to know every once in a while. He doesn't know that, and I do it poorly, but I do it because
That's the only way
it's
to
a
do it.
great song. I
Yeah.
did it in New York a few months ago.
No shit.
Yeah. Man, Matt, behind the scenes, Matt, you're beautiful.
Matt.
We'll see you guys on episode 2. Cheers, everyone. Be good to each other, man. Hate requires work. Love is easy.